By the way, before we're starting, I just want to say, I know I said that my next video was gonna be my October TBR, but I have ordered 2 books that's gonna be on my TBR, so I'm gonna wait to film that until they come. So yeah, you're gonna get this video instead, but let's go. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm gonna be doing a tag, and this tag is a fall tag and it's called Fall Time Cozy Time tag. I've got my mug with my coffee and I'm ready to go. Okay, so let's go. The first question is, crunching leaves. The world is full of colors. Choose a book that has reds / oranges / yellows on the cover. Okay, so for this one, I was choosing between a couple of different books, but I finally decided to go with Harry Potter and the Cursed Child by J.K. Rowling, John Tiffany, and Jack Thorne. Just because this one has both oranges and yellows and almost like orangey red as well, so it almost has all of the colors. Yeah, and I think this just looks so much like a fall book. It just reminds me of fall when I look at it, and it has this gold here as well, which I just think adds to everything, so I chose this one. This is my baby. So pretty. Here's the back. Okay, so the next question is cozy sweater. It's finally cold enough to do warm cozy clothing. What book gives you the warm fuzzies? For this one, I mean, I don't own many contemporaries, but if I did, it would probably be a contemporary, like a light-hearted like love story or something. But I don't really own any books like that, unfortunately. I haven't read that many contemporaries, so I chose Harry Potter. When I say Harry Potter, I mean like all of the Harry Potter books, especially the early ones though, when they're young. It's just like, they're just so cute. And yeah, the Gemstone trilogy, and especially the first book, which is Ruby Red. I don't actually own this book. I own the third one, but I don't own the first 2. But the first book, Ruby Red, just this whole trilogy just gives me like, you know, it's just so cute and it just gives you the feels. If you haven't read it, please read it. And other than that, I don't know. I wish I'd read more contemporary, but I just haven't been focusing on contemporary lately. But yeah, those are the books that I could think of right now that just gives me the warm fuzzies. And actually I do have Ruby Red. This is actually a German edition. I have this in German just because I borrowed it from the library so I could read it and improve my German, but you know, that hasn't happened yet. But I've read it in Swedish and it's so good. And the author is German as well. Her name is Kerstin Gier. This one right here. Okay, so the third question is fall storm. The wind is howling and the rain is pounding. Choose one genre or book that you would like to read on a rainy day. So for this, I will have to choose the Harry Potter books again. Oh, by the way, I'm almost like embarrassed to say this, but I don't own the Harry Potter books. They are like my favorite series of all time, but I don't own them. I've read them so many times, but I've always borrowed them from the library. And as I said in my first video, I just recently started collecting books, so obviously I mostly bought books that I hadn't read before, so I haven't bought them yet. I think I'm gonna wish for the box set of the books for Christmas though. But yeah, the Harry Potter books, and the genre would be fantasy, just because I love fantasy. Fantasy is like what I love to read. I could read fantasy any time of the year, but especially in the fall and winter, it's just like perfect. Okay, so the fourth one is cool crisp air. What is the coolest character you would like to trade places with? And for this one, first I thought like maybe Selena from the Throne of Glass series, or like, okay, Hermione would be pretty cool to trade places with because she's just an awesome witch. But I think I'm gonna go with Katie from the Lux series. And except for all the like being kidnapped and being stalked by the government and stuff like that, I would love to be her, at least for a while. I would love to know Damon and Dee and everyone like that, and I just think that she is such a fun person. Like, she's very entertaining and very sassy, and she says what she thinks, and I love that about her. So I think she lives a very interesting life. Hot apple cider. What underhyped book would you like to see become the next hottest thing? This one was pretty hard for me to come up with an answer to, but just because basically all of the books I've been reading lately are very hyped up books, because I've discovered BookTube and I just hear about so many different books, and especially the ones I bought is like the ones I hear about on every channel. So I've read very hyped up books lately. If I would have to choose one that I own, I would say this one, which is called Graceling by Kristen Cashore. And I have the Swedish edition, so that's why it doesn't say Graceling, it says Det Utvalda. I think this one might have been pretty hyped up when it came out. It came out in 2008, so obviously I didn't read it in 2008 just because I was 8 years old. But this one is so good. So this is the first book in a trilogy, and each book follows a different character. But in the end, their stories all come together and the story just becomes very epic. But the first one is about a girl named Katsa. She is an assassin, and I think a lot of people would think about Game of Thrones immediately when they hear that it's about a girl who's an assassin. But I don't think this one is very similar to, did I say Game of Thrones? I mean Throne of Glass. I don't think this one is so similar to that. I mean, it is about a girl who's an assassin, of course, but I don't know, just trust me when I say this is so good, and if you haven't read it, please do, because it's amazing. It's like just a very intense, epic fantasy, and I just love her so much as well. And the other two books in the trilogy is also very good, so. Okay, so the next question is, coats, scarves, and mittens. The weather has turned cold and it's time to cover up. What's the most embarrassing book cover that you own and that you would like to keep hidden in public? This is such a fun question. Unfortunately, I would have to give a very boring answer to that because I don't really own that many embarrassing book covers. I mean, that's pretty boring, isn't it? I would probably say one of the Lux series books. Not this one really, because this one is not that weird. It's not that they're embarrassing really, but it's just that I don't really like these covers. I think they look kind of like cheesy and not very good, and I don't think they give the right impression of the book. For example, this is the second one. It just looks like a cheesy romance novel, and it's not, in my opinion. And this is the third one. Like, it just looks so like, it doesn't give the right impression of the story. It's not like they're embarrassing really. Okay, so now we're down to the last question, and that is pumpkin spice. What's your favorite fall time comfort food / foods? And I would probably have to say hot chocolate, obviously, because that's just like a staple. If I should choose like a food, I don't know, cinnamon buns. I love those. They're pretty fall-ish. And if I should choose like a specific actual food and not like a bun or something, I would say soup. Soup is just so like fall-y, wintry, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. It's not really something you eat in the summertime. So yeah, soup and cinnamon buns and hot chocolates. And that is all the questions for this tag. So yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!